was just about to take a shot at you. Is that a birthday cake?
Happy birthday
No, thank you very much.
you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear my ugly friend, Chris Cuomo. Happy birthday to you. I love you, brother.
What a beautiful friendship. I miss the good old days. All I need in this life of sin is me and my best friend. Me and my best friend. Chrissy C and the sour lemon. We're butt bongo best friends. Oh, I miss the good old days. What happened to such good friends? Oh! You know, when I was growing up, one of the many life lessons that my dad taught me, never burn bridges, because you never know when you're going to need someone. Oftentimes, you won't need someone for years, maybe even decades, but you never know when you're gonna be desperate and you're gonna need the help of someone else. You don't want to be in a situation where you have given the other person a reason not to help you. Obviously, I haven't always followed this wise advice from my father. I'm sure I have not only burned the bridge at my old job, I also buried the remains. For a while after I left in June of 2021, I was highly critical of my former employer on camera. Even though I don't regret anything I said, there could be a time where I regret saying it publicly. Hopefully that will never be the case and I can continue living my dream here on YouTube and never have to get a job again. But you never know. You never know. I could wake up tomorrow morning and you guys could get bored listening to the musings of a dumbass, and you could start watching some other dumbass, which would force me to re-enter the workforce. Hopefully that never happens, but I'm not the only one who has severed ties and burned bridges. Unfortunately for Donnie Lemon, he is guilty of the same transgression. For years, Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo. Hey, it's me, Chrissy C. For years, Donnie and Chrissy, they were best friends on a professional level. It wouldn't surprise me if they were the type of dudes that referred to themselves as besties. I'm sure they spent many late nights together at CNN listening to their favorite songs from Taylor Swift. Donnie and Chrissy, we're proud to be Swifties, yippee! I would imagine that part of the reason that Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo were so close is because they experienced success together. The peak of both of their mainstream careers, it happened at the same time. I know it's hard to believe now, but there was a time when Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo were dominating cable news. Chris Cuomo had the #1 show in primetime cable news. He was the lead-in for Donnie, where he handed Lemon millions of viewers every night. Surprisingly enough, Donnie was able to maintain that audience. There was another life lesson that my dad taught me when I was growing up. You know how when you're young, you have dozens, maybe even hundreds of friends? If you know someone by name, they're considered a friend. If you sit next to them in homeroom, they're considered a friend. Maybe you shared a bond because you ran from the cops together after they busted up a house party. When you're young, familiarity is all it takes for friendship. But my dad used to tell me all the time, it's easy to be friends with someone when things are going well. It's easy to be friends when your biggest life problem is finding the next party or finding someone who's willing to buy you beer. But you don't find out who your friends really are until you find yourself in a situation where you need them the most. It's amazing how so-called friends disappear when you actually need them. Fall of 2021. After years of playing together in the Butt Bongo Band, after years of birthday celebrations blowing the supersized candle, after years of romantic gestures at CNN, I love you, Don. Oh, I love you, Chrissy. We're best friends. Fall of 2021, Chris Cuomo found himself in a situation where he needed the support of his friend. His brother, Andy Cuomo, the former governor of the Democratic Republic of New York. Andy found himself involved in a scandal. As the face of prime time at the Cemetery News Network, Chris Cuomo, he was being pressured to talk about the scandal. His refusal to cover his brother's story, it was one of the main reasons that CNN eventually fired him. This was one of those trying trying times where Chris Cuomo needed the support of his friend. And Don Lemon could not distance himself fast enough. Here we are 4 years later, and Donnie, he finds himself in a situation where he needs the support of Chris Cuomo. And Chris Cuomo has sent Donnie a clear message: fuck you. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. This morning on the second channel, we talked about the ratings decline in the NFL playoffs, how the NFL is facing a very serious problem with no solution in sight. Also, I know some of you are looking for coverage of the inauguration of the other Donnie, the more famous and the far more important Donnie Trump. I have been working on it all morning. Later this afternoon, I'll be giving you guys a montage of how the mainstream media is choosing to cover the inauguration. I promise you don't want to miss it. Since he was fired from CNN 2 years ago, Don Lemon, he's been trying to find a way back into the mainstream. Initially, after he was fired, Donnie tried to play the role of the ultimate victim. I'm so traumatized. I found out I was fired through my agent. They didn't even have the decency to squash my lemons with their own hands. Please feel sorry for me. Oh! Once Donnie realized that no one gave a shit about his status as a marginalized victim, he decided to shift strategies. He entered into an agreement with Elon Musk where he would deliver the new and improved Don Lemon to Twitter. Elon Musk even did him a favor by sitting down for an interview with Don Lemon for the premiere episode. How did Donnie repay his new friend Elon? He once again played the role of the ultimate victim and claimed Elon Musk breached their contract. Several months later, Donnie sued Elon Musk, and back in November, Donnie announced that he was leaving the platform altogether. Once again, this desperate cry for attention went unnoticed because normal people don't give a shit about Don Lemon. Donnie's next publicity stunt was playing the role of the bitter, angry diva. Donnie accepted the role of the angry, marginalized man who spreads bitterness and fear after the election of the tyrannical Orange Man. On the surface, it makes sense as to why Don Lemon would accept this role. The role of the bitter, marginalized Lemon, it was extremely profitable from 2016 to 2020. During that time, Donnie was able to find other marginalized stars who would express their fake outrage against the Trumper. But in 2025, all those marginalized stars, they are now supporting the Trumper. So what's a Lemon to do? Since being fired from CNN, Donnie has tried and tried and tried to find a way back into the mainstream. All of a sudden, Donnie was hit with a brilliant idea. It was a stroke of brilliance, and I stroked it twice. Recently, Dan Abrams announced that he was leaving his primetime show on NewsNation. When this was announced back in late December, Donnie Lemon decided, I will lower my standards. Even though I belong on Fox News or MSNBC, the Super Lemon will arrive at NewsNation and save the peasants from obscurity. According to Radar Online, Don Lemon is putting everything on the line for this potential opportunity at NewsNation. Insiders are claiming that Donnie is desperate to shine again in the mainstream. There's just one problem, one tiny problem. In order for his job application to be reviewed at NewsNation, he needs the blessing of Chris Cuomo. Last I checked, Chris Cuomo is not a priest. Hell, he's no longer even a deacon at Woke United Methodist. He renounced his woke faith, and to his credit, Chris Cuomo has followed through with his promise to be new and improved. He has followed through with his promise to be appealing to normal people, which means Chrissy C ain't in the business of giving blessings to a sour lemon. You think he forgot? Seriously, you think he forgot? You think Chris Cuomo forgot about Don Lemon turning his back on him when he needed him the most? You think he forgot about the unanswered phone calls? You think he forgot about those lonely nights where Donnie left his messages on red? Even if Chris Cuomo gave Donnie his blessing, it is highly unlikely that NewsNation would hire him. According to Radar Online, executives at NewsNation, they are hesitant to hire Don Lemon because they don't think he is worth the risk. You see, Donnie has been given the one label that you don't want in any industry. Whether you're a star athlete or a star plumber in the WNBA dump, there's one label that is hard to escape once you're labeled with it. Don Lemon has been labeled difficult to work with, which is probably why he has been unemployed for 2 years. Just look at the history of Don Lemon. Problems at CNN, problems with Twitter, dramatic announcements where he claims to be leaving social media in a desperate cry for attention. It's one thing to cause problems when you're drawing millions of viewers. People are willing to put up with a dramatic star when that dramatic star is producing results. But when you can't draw flies to a fresh turd, you're just not worth the trouble. Another life lesson my dad taught me, you find out who people really are when they're given money and power. Money and power doesn't change you, it exposes you. And over the last 4 or 5 years, the real Don Lemon has been exposed. As a result, no one in the mainstream wants to work with him. Give me your thoughts on this. Don Lemon, desperate to get back into the mainstream. He thought he would have an opportunity at NewsNation, and his former best friend Chris Cuomo swiped left. Will Donnie be able to overcome the label of being difficult to work with? Will Donnie find a way back into the mainstream? Let me know. Sound off in the comments below. Best way to contact me is through email, btlkc84@gmail.com. I'll see you guys later.